Hello, my name is Stephen Redman and welcome to another episode of Pastor's Library. This is the channel where we discuss everything to do with theology books, particularly books that might be on a reading list for a seminary course, for a bachelor's or master's degree, or maybe just books that have caught your eye in your vicar's office or in your pastor's library. So today I want us to talk about a very specific Oxford handbook. And if you like what we have to say, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Please subscribe and click on the bell, because all that does is let you know when we release another episode. But if you do that, it just helps the algorithm, helps spread the word. So thank you very much indeed in advance. So today we're going to talk about the Oxford Handbook of Systematic Theology. Systematic Theology, I've done a very successful video about a year ago now on systematic theology, and there's another one coming up soon too. But systematic theology is a great subject, a very broad subject, and you would sort of expect that someone would write a book about the books, because that's what happens when a subject becomes enormous. And so this book has been written by John Webster, Catherine Tanner and Ian Torrance, and it's in the Oxford Handbook series, a series which from time to time I've found to be very helpful. The one that immediately comes to mind is the Oxford Handbook of Free Will, but these books can also be quite expensive, so look around for a good deal. I was very fortunate to get a copy of this in a nearly new pile for about £30, which, believe me, is a lot less than you would expect to pay. So, what is this book? Well, this is about context. It's about understanding where systematic theology comes from. It's about getting an idea of what systematic theology covers and why it covers what it covers. What this really does is it shows you how a systematic theology that you might buy off the shelf, like by Wayne Grudem or Frank Macchia or any of the good proponents of systematic theology, it tells you how that book will be organised and fundamentally what it will do for you. And these three authors, who are all well-known writers in their own sense. Catherine Tanner, for example, has written a systematic theology, although I haven't read it. So these are people who are academic and they will help you through the undergrowth, so to speak. I suppose, just to get it out of the way, my one disappointment is it doesn't really recommend a top systematic theology. But I'm quite glad about that, because I'm fairly certain by reading this it would be different to what I would choose. But it was written in 2007, it's 708 pages, it's a meaty volume, and some of the contributing authors are quite profound. For example, there's Richard Borkham, there's Richard Hayes, the two Richards, Paul Fides, Christopher Rowland, Fred Sanders, to say nothing of some of the editors of this book as well. This is a credible book written broadly by credible people. It comes from Oxford University Press, which should always be considered. It isn't necessarily the be-all and end-all, but it should always be considered. It goes through the main dogmas that will be promoted in a systematic theology. So it will talk about the Trinity, it will talk about the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Speaking about the Holy Spirit, although the editors are clearly not Pentecostal by background from some of the things they say, they do engage with Pentecostal theologians. And I find that good. I find some of what they're saying is a little bit vague if you come from a Pentecostal charismatic background. I can only describe it this way. It's like going up to a man who's wearing an adult nappy, an adult diaper, if you're from the other side of the Atlantic, and asking him to point the way to the nearest toilet. It's sort of like asking people who don't know where the big secret is. And I would just suggest that maybe it would have been good to have had a more Pentecostal editor in the team. It does say Pentecostals are the largest movement of Christians in the last 100 years. It slaps a very high figure on the numbers of them. And then on top of that, there are the charismatics, of course, and the new churches. To have all those people and yet clearly not to have a Pentecostal stroke charismatic editor for this chapter just seems a little bit over egging the pudding, if you know what I mean. So this is without doubt a worthwhile read. Eschatology, which is written by Richard Bauckham, which incidentally has at least one quote to Moltmann, which you would expect that from Richard Bauckham, wouldn't you? A great introduction to the concept, and largely speaking, that's what you will get in this book. And you will get the layout in terms of what most systematic theologies will deal with and how they will deal with it. But the end result of their discussions is not in this book. This is just pointing you in a direction. So what else can I say about this? I would say it's very well laid out. It's actually what you would expect from an Oxford handbook. It's very clear. I think you get the sense that this is well edited. You get the sense that it is very well constructed, that some serious time has been given to it, and that it's been well proofread before they've ever gone to print. And you will see Karl Barth's name up there quite regularly. And I think that's somehow because he did, of course, write one of the most significant systematic theologies in his dogmatics. But also, in general, the word reformed does run through these editors quite strongly. So, I can say this. If you can get hold of a copy of this for a reasonable cost, it will help you, because as much as we might all argue that what we really want to talk about is biblical theology, and I would argue that as well. The truth is, we all reach for our systematic theology from time to time, whether it's a definition for our preaching, or whether we're just looking up an idea to start our reading again. Whatever it is, we all use systematic theologies, and this book is very helpful in understanding what a systematic theology is about. So if, for example, you're about to do a course on systematic theology at university or seminary, then this book would be an obvious read. It really would be. It will open up the subject. It will open up the subject by good academic theologians who do have something to say, and it will shine a light on the pages that you may have to read for the rest of your course. So, I suppose that's it. The Oxford Handbook on Systematic Theology, 2007. I hope you read it. I hope you get something from it. I hope that helps you. I hope this video has helped you. If it has, remember to give us thumbs up, remember to subscribe, and remember to ring the bell. And we'll see you next time on Pastor's Library. Until then, bye!